What happens when two nations collide over trade? Can a consumer movement really challenge global economic powers? President Trump's threats to impose tariffs on Canadian thrusts have sparked an unexpected wave of rebellion among ordinary Canadians. With tensions between the U.S. and Canada reaching a boiling point, could this rebellion trigger an economic war? Let's dive into the heart of this brewing storm. Greenland has been a part of the Danish kingdom for over 800 years. It's been an integral part of their country, and as the Danish Prime Minister firmly declared, it is not for sale. This wasn't just a political statement. It was a clear message that no one was going to mess with Denmark's sovereignty. Yet, as we transition from global politics to a more local context, President Trump's recent trade threats have ignited a similar sentiment across Canada. The anger over these threats is palpable, and Canadians are fighting back not with bombs, but with their wallets. On February 1, 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to impose a 25% tariff on Canadian goods. For many Canadians, this move felt like a slap in the face. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau wasted no time in firing back, asserting that Canada would not back down. The Canadian government swiftly began preparing retaliatory measures, signaling that this trade dispute could soon escalate into a full-scale economic war between the two neighboring nations. But beyond the political bickering, something even more intriguing is happening. Across Canada, a grassroots movement is gaining momentum, one that is using consumer power to send a message to the U.S., the Buy Canadian movement. As it has come to be known, is rapidly spreading, with over 577,000 members rallying online to ditch U.S. brands in favor of homegrown products. It's not just about buying Canadian for the sake of it. This is a battle of national pride. And the fight is being waged in grocery aisles and online shopping carts, from Kraft products to Campbell's soup. From Starbucks to Lysol, Canadian consumers are making a clear statement. They're choosing local products over foreign imports. In supermarkets, aisles are being rebranded with bold Made in Canada tags. Canadians are proudly showcasing their all-Canadian grocery hauls online. Posting pictures, sharing information, and offering alternatives to popular U.S. products. The message is loud and clear. We will not be bullied. But can this movement really change the tide of an international trade war? As tariffs loom and retaliatory measures start taking shape, it's not just about a boycott, it's about sending a political message. Retailers have caught on to the shift in consumer sentiment, and grocery stores are quickly adjusting to meet the demand for Canadian-made goods. One retailer, Peggy Chambers, says she is now more committed than ever to supporting Canadian-made products. She's scrutinizing labels with renewed focus, choosing to buy Canadian goods as a way of voicing her dissent against the U.S. president's policies. This shift in consumer behavior is not without challenges, however. Many of the products sold in Canada, even those from well-known American brands, rely on Canadian farmers and distributors. The supply chains that cross national borders complicate the idea of buying Canadian. Some products might bear an American brand name, but they're actually sourced from Canadian suppliers. This complexity raises the question: how much of what we buy can truly be considered Canadian? While it's easy to say buy Canadian, food analysts caution that consumers need to be mindful of the intricate web of international trade that underpins their everyday purchases. Some Canadian products are heavily dependent on U.S. imports, and boycotting them could inadvertently harm Canadian farmers. Sylvain Charlebois, a food analyst, notes that while the sentiment is strong, consumers should not make their purchasing decisions based solely on brand names. It's essential to understand where the raw materials and labor come from, as well as the larger economic impact of their choices. Nevertheless, the Buy Canadian movement is undeniably powerful. In response to growing support, Canadian grocery stores have introduced Made in Canada tags for products, making it easier for shoppers to identify domestic goods. These labels have quickly become a common sight in supermarkets, offering consumers a simple way to support their local economy and send a message to the U.S. government. Yet, the complexities of modern supply chains mean that even these tags can be misleading, making it more difficult for consumers to discern the true origins of the products they buy. Despite these challenges, many Canadians are embracing the movement with enthusiasm. For some, like Peggy Chambers, it's not just about political resistance, it's about making a personal statement. As Canadians, we feel helpless in the face of these international pressures, but this is one small way we can fight back, she says. By choosing Canadian-made goods, they hope to show that they won't stand idly by while their country is threatened. The growing demand for Canadian products is also creating a sense of unity among Canadians. And government officials are getting behind the initiative. Prime Minister Trudeau has encouraged citizens to check labels and choose Canadian products whenever possible. Provincial leaders like Manitoba's Premier have echoed these calls, urging citizens to use their purchasing power as a tool for resistance. It's a movement that's resonating with everyday people. But what about the broader economic implications? The shift in consumer behavior has far-reaching consequences for both businesses and governments. On one hand, local producers are seeing opportunities for growth. The demand for Canadian-made products is pushing retailers to source more domestic goods. However, businesses that rely heavily on U.S. imports are facing significant risks. Pierre Oliver, a small business owner in St. Thomas, Ontario, whose model train kits are primarily sold to American customers, fears that the tariffs could decimate his business. With 95% of his sales coming from the U.S., Oliver anticipates having to raise his prices to offset the impact of the tariffs, potentially pricing himself out of the market. For some, the Buy Canadian movement could lead to higher prices and fewer choices as retailers scramble to find domestic alternatives. The demand for Canadian products could drive up costs across various sectors. This could affect everything from food to appliances to recreational vehicles, making it more difficult for consumers to find affordable options. On the political stage, Canada has prepared its own set of retaliatory measures. The first round of countermeasures targets $30 billion worth of U.S. goods, with plans for a second round that could affect up to $125 billion in American products. These tariffs are strategically chosen to target politically sensitive items, such as Florida orange juice and Kentucky bourbon, in an effort to exert pressure on key U.S. political figures. This is not just about trades, about sending a message to President Trump and his allies, as the trade war between the U.S. and Canada heats up. One thing is clear: this is more than just a battle over goods. It's a clash of national pride, and the outcome could reshape the economic and political landscape of North America. Whether this grassroots rebellion can lead to real change remains to be seen. But Canadians are making their voices heard, and they're doing it one grocery cart at a time.